What's up, guys? I'm your host, Emily Eamon, joined by Minnesota Libero CC McGraw. CC, how are things going up in Minnesota?
They're actually really good. We just started our training yesterday, so it's really nice to finally get back into it and kind of have a normal schedule. So, so far everything's pretty good.
Yeah, it seems like things are lightening up. Everyone's getting back into it, and a really exciting time. But I want to start kind of with your family life. So you were actually one of 7 children. I'm kind of wondering what impact growing up with 6 siblings had in one household on you and your life, especially in sports.
Um, so it was always, especially being a middle child, I think, and then having a lot of older siblings, they really pushed me. And my 2 older sisters um played volleyball at a young age too, so they kind of had me like they'd be like pounding volleyballs at me in the front yard ever since I was tiny. So I started playing when I was like 5. But yeah, I think it's definitely different. But then obviously, like, coming into a team sport, team atmosphere, it forces you to really be selfless because it's not the me show. Like, you're just trying to do whatever you can to help those around you, and that's kind of the way I was raised, like giving more than you get. And that's definitely translated into my game.
After your freshman year, where you led your team to a Big Ten title, you were actually selected to the USA Volleyball Collegiate National Team, where you toured Japan, played some matches there. You're playing with some of the best collegiate players in the country, and I'm wondering kind of what was your biggest takeaway from that trip as a whole?
I think there's a pretty big learning curve, especially for that, like, being with some of the all-stars in the nation and playing with some of the best. I think it definitely took some time, especially playing overseas. In Japan, it's a different kind of game. It's a completely different ball game. So, kinda trying to adjust and really focus on, doing whatever I can to help those around me get the next point, especially just, like, they're all new. I've never played with any of them before, so it was really cool. And especially just getting to be a part of a completely different culture and be immersed in that and stay in a bunch of different cool cities around there. It was really awesome, and the coaches were amazing. It was just really, really, really cool.
Were you ever, intimidated by coming in with these girls that are also just at the top of their game?
Yeah, I think, um, initially I was like, "Oh, man," like, not really knowing what to expect, and obviously the game was gonna be really intense, but it wasn't anything that was different than what I was used to. Playing at Minnesota, like, coming in as a freshman and playing, obviously you're playing at the highest level. So I think I was more like excited just to get to compete and play with some of the best.
Yeah, you mentioned that, the game is really different there. What did you learn from their players in Japan?
They just scrap like no other. They aren't obviously super tall. They don't have a huge height advantage. So they just will not let the ball hit the floor. And that was one thing I really took as like a big takeaway from that. I think, their liberos and their middles and their setters would all just be like throwing a pinky and like digging the ball up and literally just like you think the ball's down, but it's not. They just keep it going. And I was like, huh, like really makes our life a lot more difficult when they seem to just be digging everything. I was like, maybe I should really start to, like, I don't know, translate that in my game because, like, I don't know, they just dug everything, and they were just super smart, tricky. Their outsides and their hitters had, like, some of the trickiest shots because they didn't obviously have the height to just hit over our block.
Mhm.
So yeah,
A
it's
lot of those
different.
smaller teams, it seems like they're so hard to play against because you're not used to, the scrappiness and the shoddiness. It's like, like you said, like they're throwing pinkies out, and you're like, well, I got to get my pinkies straight in here.
Yeah. No, it was crazy. You'd be like, you literally think the ball is down, you see Danny Drews going up, swinging, and literally just pounding a ball, and they just, like, throw a finger, throw whatever, and it's up, and you're like, "How is that even possible?" But alright, like, they're making us better, so it's all good. It was really
Well,
cool.
good. Yeah. Well, it's also worth mentioning in March, you were named to the USA Volleyball Women's Collegiate National Team Gold roster, where you were supposed to, go train with them in Anaheim this summer before COVID kind of canceled that. So still a huge honor. Congratulations on that. So like you were mentioning
Thank you.
earlier, kind of since freshman year, you've been the libero for that team since right when you came in. You led them to a Big Ten title, a Final Four, Sweet 16, where you've completely controlled the backcourt. But you are actually one of my favorite players to watch. kind of because you're the team's hype woman, going crazy in the back court. So how do you keep that energy for an entire game, let alone an entire season?
I think I kind of just try to embrace it. I think he always tells us like you don't have to feel good to play good, and I think that's the same for when you're giving energy. I think even when you're at your lowest of lows and maybe you're not having your best match, but the best thing you can do is help those around you and do whatever you can to like hype them up and cheer them up, because honestly that helps me too. Like if I just like bring more energy even if I'm not having this all-star game, like it'll eventually like it helps me because it kind of gets me going. So I think regardless if I'm feeling like crap or not, like I'm just doing whatever I can to help my team get the next point. And if that means like slapping butts and screaming in their face and cheering them on, like I'm gonna do it.
Well, you're not just an incredible player. It seems like you've kind of emerged as a leader for this Gopher team. And I'm kind of wondering how you've navigated this role throughout your time in Minnesota and how it's evolved.
I definitely think I've had quite a bit of growth since I came here. Coming in as a freshman, we had this amazingly talented team. And so obviously I didn't really need to be like a huge leader. I think I was just more there like leading by example and doing my job and helping those around me. But like we had Samantha, we had all these awesome seniors who just kind of like took charge. And I just tried to like learn from them. Like I learned from Samantha and like how she was able to lead, because like obviously after they graduated, I kind of had to like pick up my leadership to help carry the team to win. And so I don't know, I think especially like last season, we dealt with a lot of adversity and injuries and just a lot of chaos. So especially in those times, like we needed some consistency, right, with leadership and just like someone taking charge, especially in the backcourt, like hyping everyone up because we had people playing positions they weren't used to, and just making sure they had the confidence to like do what they were capable of doing.
All right, let's take it back to last fall during the 2019 NCAA tournament. What are some of your initial thoughts when thinking about that Final Four run?
It's pretty unreal, honestly. Like we were just, I mean, the entire last season was just crazy. I think we had a different lineup every game and we were dealing with people in different positions. And um, I think everyone embraced their role on every given day because we all had a different role depending on who was out, who was in. I don't know. It was just really complicated, but I think the fact that we made it to the Final Four and got to experience that, and obviously it wasn't the outcome we had hoped for, but we did our best to get there. I think it was pretty remarkable what our team did, and despite everything that we went through and all that adversity. So, I mean, I'm pretty proud of our team and the way we handled everything and the stress and all of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially when you have a lot of moving pieces around, like it's hard to feel comfortable in a situation, but making that entire run so worth it and so great, definitely, it's up there. I'm kind of wondering how the Final Four run compares to the Big Ten title of your freshman year.
Honestly, I think both were just like amazing. I think the Final Four is something you always dream of ever since you're a little kid, like that's what everyone's striving to do and get to. And so getting to experience that and play in that huge gym and play in front of all those people, like pretty indescribable. And that's something you just like work your entire life towards, and so I thought last year was pretty cool, especially with everything that we went through as a team. But the Big Ten title my freshman year was pretty awesome. When you're playing in one of the top conferences in the nation, if not the top, you're playing top 10 teams every weekend for 10 weeks straight, and it's a grind. So the fact that we did that our freshman year and went 9-1, like, was really cool.
Yeah. And it's not like, you're not to get the Big Ten title, you're not winning a tournament. It's not like one weekend of grind and stuff. You're going through an entire season, and you have to win those games every single day. They're going to bring it every single day. But to finish up, it kind of looks like you're big into TikTok now, and some of the girls in your team are too, which I'm loving watching, the pose challenge and other funny videos you guys are doing. And I need more content. So what do you guys have planned for the future?
Oh man, honestly, I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but we'll get some ideas going. I think Shay and I will definitely have to talk through some stuff and get some stuff going because we don't know. We're running out of ideas, but yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, once you guys are back, ideas are flowing. Well, I can't wait to watch them, and I'm so excited to watch you this fall, and hopefully another, Big Ten title, Final Four, national championship coming up. So thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much.